Hello and welcome to another episode of the NEO series. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Today we are going to discuss the 10-point peace plan of Ukraine, which might help in ending the war, or we can call it invasion of Russia in Ukraine. Now this topic is going to be extremely important, as it was recently in the news that Volodymyr Zelensky discussed this plan with the Prime Minister of India, apart from many other world leaders. So, without any further ado, let us move ahead with the topics that we are going to discuss step by step. These are the many topics that we are going to discuss. Also, we will shed light upon the current situation of war. This will comprise of the day 307 and 8 of war, diplomacy and the world. What are the diplomatic solutions to the current situation? And the peace plan of Zelensky. What is India's position on it? As well as how the world has responded along with Russia. Moving ahead, as I have already introduced you to the news, let's first of all talk about the current status of a war. See, the front line, specifically in eastern Ukraine, has remained little changed. This eastern Ukraine is the actual region which has been much in the news. And I request all of you to please look at these regions on map on a regular basis, because it might be possible that it will reflect in your prelims examination, specifically the location. So there has been an increase in fighting in this region and neither side is making any major advances. So we can for sure say that there is a point, this is the point of time where Ukraine and Russia might be reaching a deadlock on the battleground. The fighting was particularly fierce around the strategic eastern city of Bakhmut, as well as Donetsk province and Svatove further north in Luhansk province. So Donetsk and Luhansk were made a republic recently, and it was suggested it was formally annexed into Russia. Now it, according to Russia, is no longer a part or a territory of Ukraine. And this is the region, Bakhmut, which is now in ruins because it earlier hosted a large number of people. The buildings have collapsed due to incessant bombings by Russia over here. Moving ahead, if we talk about Bakhmut, now it's in ruins. Ukrainian military analyst Oleg Zadnov has said in a YouTube video that fighting had intensified with Russia, deploying armored vehicles and tanks in this region. What is the diplomatic solution currently? See, Ukrainian foreign minister has said that his nation wants a peace summit within 2 months through the United Nations to end the war, although he says that he's not looking for Russia's support or Russia's inclusion in this peace summit. How can this be? Just think about it. Diplomatic solution has to lie between two countries which are at war at each other. If the other, which is the aggressor party, that is Russia over here, is not included, how will we reach a peace solution? Russian foreign minister has said that an ultimatum has to be accepted by Ukraine to surrender the territories which are no longer in control of Ukraine. Otherwise, the Ukraine as a country will cease to exist, according to the Russian officials. The United States and its NATO allies together with Ukraine, they want to defeat Russia on the battleground. This is with an aim to destroy it. This is not what I am saying. This is what Russia is saying. Italian Prime Minister has reaffirmed her government's full support for Ukraine in a call with Zelensky along with other leaders. Moving ahead, now let's talk about the 10-point peace plan through which Ukraine seeks support of the rest of the world. First is radiation and nuclear safety. Specifically, this is in reference to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is now under the control of the Russian territory, Russian officials, or Russia we can say, not officials, not territory. This is Zaporizhzhia. Now Ukraine wants this region to be secured, and so that any nuclear crisis does not occur. Apart from that radiation crisis also gets handled. Food security, which ensures Ukraine's grains export to the world's poorest nation. As we know, food grains prices have increased after the war, along with food security being threatened not only in Europe, but of course Asian and African countries. Why do I say that? According to this particular graph that I have beside me on my left side, This is the percentage of wheat imports which have been sourced from Ukraine. This is as of 2020. For Moldova, it is 92%, Lebanon 81%, Qatar 64%, Tunisia 49%, as well as Libya and Pakistan at 48%. Other than that, Indonesia, Malaysia and Egypt plus Bangladesh are also importing a lot of food grains, specifically wheat imports from Ukraine. Other than that, energy security, the focus according to this peace plan should be on price restriction on Russian energy so that Russia cannot finance its wars through the fee, that is through the sales of energy, as well as aiding Ukraine with restoring its power infrastructure, which has been damaged, half of which have been damaged by Russian attacks. Release of all prisoners and deportees, including war ones and children who have been deported to Russia. Now, Russia and Ukraine are both a party to the Geneva Convention, but reports have emerged that Russia and Ukraine have tortured prisoners of war according to United Nations. Other than that, restoring Ukraine's territorial integrity and Russia reaffirming it according to the UN Charter, and of course, withdrawal of Russian troops and cessation of hostilities, restoration of Ukraine's state borders with Russia, specifically we talk about Donetsk and Luhansk. Justice, in order to improve the justice mechanism, specifically for this war, there should be an establishment of a special tribunal to prosecute Russian war crimes. Ecocide, that means the environmental damage that has been created because of this war has been immense. We will talk about that as well. Protection of environment with a focus on demining and restoring water treatment facilities. See, according to this news piece, because of the war, more than 6 million Ukrainians have limited or no access to clean water, and more than 280,000 hectares of forest have been destroyed or felled. This is according to World Wildlife Fund. It has caused more than $37 billion of damage with respect to environment, and this is according to the Audit Chamber, which is a non-governmental group in the country. Prevention of escalation of conflict and building security architecture in the Euro-Atlantic space, including guarantees for Ukraine, and of course confirmation of war's end so that a treaty may be signed and the future of both the countries, Russia and Ukraine, can be determined. Now, what can India do? See, first of all, let us look at this tweet. This is from Zelensky. He said that he had a phone call with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and wished a successful G20 presidency, which India is holding for this year. It was on the platform that he announced a peace formula, and now I count on India's participation in its implementation. I also thanked for humanitarian aid and support in the Ukraine area because of the war which Ukraine is going through. As our Prime Minister has time and again reiterated a two-party solution for this, India never shamed Russia in any public platform, which India has done so correctly. Why? Because first of all, India follows non-alignment policy, and also this complete policy of there is a policy of naming and shaming and blaming in the world arena has never caused any good for any country. I'm not saying, and India does not say, whatever I am producing here is not my word, are not my words, it's India's stand. India has always believed in a diplomatic solution while keeping in mind all the stakeholders are involved. Third party influence India has never gotten into. It is so. Why? Why is it so? Because India never wanted a third party influence when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. So India, for the similar reason, does not want to be a part of any conflict, but yes, it wants to be a part of the solution. USA, Canada, France, until and unless we can, of course, take into account whatever aid that they are giving to Ukraine in the entire scenario, they have not achieved anything on the diplomatic grounds. Diplomatic solution is the need of the hour currency, and this is the problem that we have right now, that there is not a complete deadlock in the battleground. Neither Russia nor Ukraine are moving back. So that is the problem. As Prime Minister has told to Vladimir Putin in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, that this is not an era of war, which Putin has time and again said that yes, this was a constant suggestion from India, and Putin also does not want to go on with this war. He wants a diplomatic solution, but Ukraine is not ready for it. See, since 24th February 2022, since the war began, India sent 12 consignments totaling 99.3 tons of humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. It consisted of medicines, blankets, tents, tarpaulin, medical equipment as well. From India's perspective, the biggest message that we can take away here to Russia is put an end to this war and get back to business as usual, because nobody is achieving anything from it. India has a unique position in the global south right now. India is a friend of Washington as well as Moscow, and India is in good terms with Ukraine. Although we can definitely say that India might not be the principal agent in the entire scenario. That is for sure true, because India does not want to be a shamer to Russia. Russia has time and again, it's a time-tested friend. India will never do that. But yes, India can play moderate roles in being a friend to both Ukraine and Russia in the scenario. Because what the perspective of India is right now is to restore balance to the globe. In the sense, post-COVID era should be an era, or we can say we are not in the post-COVID era, of course, because of the new infection cases that are on the rise in China and now many other regions of the world. But yes, in this particular era, we must ensure that we are back on track when it comes to our economy. That is the first thing that India wants to do. So India can play moderate roles only. Okay, there is a room for diplomacy right now, in the sense that yes, not any major advances are being made, and also we are almost completing 1 year of the war. So that is the problem. Every other country should ensure that diplomatic solution could be made. India as the president of the UNSC, India as the president of the G20 can definitely play a moderate role. But when it comes to global south, it should ensure that it comes into the picture every now and then. So I hope it was understood. Now see, what has been the world's reaction to the context in the current scenario? Russia has rejected the peace proposal this month. Western worlds have shown their support for Ukraine's military, and now this has run into billions of dollars. But the response to Zelensky's peace plan and his proposal peace summit has been more cautious. It wants a global peace summit within 2 months, but the world leaders are not seeing eye to eye on this. G7 leaders have said they were committed to bringing peace to Ukraine in line with its rights enshrined in the UN Charter. Now, let me take the names of those who have answered my last question correctly. The last question was with respect to Nepal and the bordering states. Meghalaya was the correct answer. Puneet, Harsh, Rupal. Naveenism, being Wasim, Bhargavi, Vani and Rishiraj. You all have answered it correctly. Shirley has answered the Lipule question. Very good. Aditya, again very good. Both the questions have been answered. Anuj, Indira, thank you for answering both the questions. Very good. Tushar, then Soumya, then Shifa, Pallavi, Aditi, Karuchola, Ankit Yadurvanshi, very good. You have answered one of my questions, which was in the middle. Shirley has answered it correctly. The other one. Alan, Raghu, and Sagarika, Tushita, and Megha. All the best. And again, I will attach one question in the comment segment. You have to answer it. Thank you so much for watching.